Good evening, folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater.
Keelan Cole with his third touchdown.
Defender Josh Norman to his backside.
Welcome. Hey everybody, it's Scott here, Scott Rinear with In Between Media. You can find me at MunderDifflinFF on Twitter, and bringing you another episode of Pulp Fantasy. As you can see, I made it back from the woods. I did my last episode while camping, middle of the forest. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Super fun to make, very time consuming as it turns out, but fun nonetheless. And I only got weird looks from about 4 or 5 other campers who were wondering what the dude was doing selfie videos and falling on the ground 4 or 5 times with twigs and dirt in his mouth and that sort of thing. I didn't try to explain it. I just went with it. So I'm back now, back at my home base, my home studio where I live, and ready to bring you another episode. So tonight's episode, I'm going to do something still a little different, but still a little bit the same. I sent feelers out a while back, not really to the Twitter sphere, kind of outside of the Twitter sphere to kind of spice things up and change things up a bit, for people to submit players, NFL players, and I would give my take on those players. So the only mistake I made in this whole endeavor was I misspelled email. When I sent out the instructions, I just said mail. So I got a bunch of mail, in the mailbox, like it's the 1980s. But people responded and sent in completely real messages, and the people that sent them in are completely real. So I'm going to read them to you. And the little twist is, I don't know if you don't know, you should know, Michael Reedy. He's at Mike Reedy FF on Twitter. Great guy. You should definitely follow him if you're not. But back in the day when I first joined Twitter, 2018, I would see him and a few others. They would do those things where, say, post a player, give me a player's name, and I'll post a GIF as to what I think. Maybe it wasn't that far back then. I don't remember. You get it. So I'm doing something similar. The players that are sent in these envelopes that I got in the mail, for real, I will give my take via clips from movies and TV, something you should be well used to at this point on this show, because it's kind of the point. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Let's get started. Oh, and side note, these are going to be bold takes, not necessarily my actual take on players. These are some bold, hot takes that everybody likes to do this time of year. And I'm going to do some too, because I'm part of everybody. All right, first one. I'm going to open it up right now. Oh, look at that. It's a birthday card from my parents. My birthday was last month. And apparently they decided to send their NFL player for my fantasy take in a birthday card. Or I guess we'll see if that's the case. I'm going to go ahead and read it for you right now. Ooh, check. Scott, happy birthday. We love you. You still have all of your middle school and high school homework in boxes in the closet of your childhood bedroom, along with a bunch of Beckett baseball card monthlies. Would you like to have those? I'm sure you don't want me to throw them away. Okay. P.S. I know that we don't live together anymore and that I can't actually see you right now, but can you please fix it for me? Happy birthday. We love you. It's very sweet. No NFL player, but very sweet nonetheless. Okay, next one. Here we go. Drum roll. Okay, let's see. So this comes to me from Bob from Lacey, Washington. That's a coincidence. That's where I grew up. I went to school, Lacey, Washington. So, Scott, you may not remember me. You were such a poser in high school. What made you think you could get away with putting two 15-inch Rockford Fosgate Punch subwoofers in the trunk of a 1992 Nissan Sentra, as well as 4 Roadster wire wheel tires on the same 1992 Nissan Sentra? You were the biggest poser I've ever seen. What do you think about Robert Woods? Wow, Bob. I guess I appreciate the honesty. But, man of my word, here's what I think about Robert Woods this year. All right, here we got another one. All right, this one comes from C. Wilson from Seattle, Washington, but the good part of Seattle, Washington. Okie doke. Scott, don't you just think that Russell Wilson is just the best? He's the best quarterback in the universe and the history of the universe. He is just the best. He is so handsome and he is such a good dad. What do you think about Russell Wilson this season? Thanks for sending that in, C. Wilson. Here's what I think about Russell Wilson this season.
The van's gonna rear in that taxi.
What?
The driver's distracted. He's texting. He's going 30 miles an hour. He's 60 feet to stop. He doesn't have room.
What van?
I see everything, Carl. I'm 50 moves ahead of you and everybody else.
All right, third one. Here we go. All right. This one comes from Chad. He does not leave a city. All right. Dear Scott, I love your show. Thanks, Chad. I've never actually seen it. I've never gotten past the intro music. The intro music is really, really awesome. I would really like to hang out with the guy who did the intro music, but I still haven't seen any of your actual show. I don't really care for movies or TV. Love the show. What do you think of Tua Tagovailoa? Thanks again, Chad. I hope you find time to watch the show at some point. I'm glad you like the intro. Anyway, here's what I think about Tua Tagovailoa, 2021 season.
What you do is you just ease that hammer back there and squeeze off around. No. Right on out there and be real smooth. That's the way you do it. Oh,
Listen, can I try that again?
yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Number 4. Let's see. All right, here we go. This one is from Senora N. from Lacey, Washington. Also from Lacey, my hometown. The last name of my Spanish teacher in high school was N, started with an N, so let's see. Dear Scott, do you really think that I didn't know that you and all your friends were super stoned every day in Spanish after you got back from lunch? You reeked like marijuana and smelled like McDonald's. You were acting super goofy. You would say things like, no sé consejo, thinking it was really funny, but it really wasn't. It was disruptive to the class, and I always knew. You and your friends thought you were so clever and thought no one knew that you were super stoned like all the time, senior year, like all the time. But we all knew. What do you think about Travis Etienne this year? Man, Senora N, it's been ages. And sorry about that. We like to get stoned back then. Anyway, here's my thoughts on Travis Etienne this year. All right, we're gonna do another one. Having fun yet? All right, me too, yay. All right, here we go, let's see. This one comes from Pete in Lacey, Washington. I had a summer league baseball coach named Pete. What are you willing to bet that it's from him? Scott, remember when I was your summer league baseball coach back in high school? Do you remember that time after that night that you got so drunk on Southern Comfort that you threw up in your best friend's shoe and passed out in a tent? And then you had a double header in our summer league the next day. Do you remember that time that you got to third base and I told you, don't let your old man smell that liquor on your breath, 12 hours after you woke up? Do you remember that? What do you think about Terrace Marshall Jr. this year? PD. No, I don't really remember that day too much. A little bit hazy. Not a proud moment. Anyway, here's what I think about the rookie, Terrace Marshall Jr. this year.
Okay, here goes. Oh my God.
Last one. Big giant stack of real mail from real people. This is the last one, though, we're going to do, at least on this episode. We'll see. Okay. This comes from S. Strangler. From Anonymous USA. Hi, Scott. I am not actually the Scranton Strangler. The Scranton Strangler was never caught. Toby was right when he said the Scranton Strangler was never caught. The reason Toby was right is because the Scranton Strangler was Toby. What do you think about Mark Andrews? It's a pretty bold claim about Toby Flenderson, but I get it. I buy it. This is what I think about Mark Andrews, tight end, Baltimore Ravens. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, that was a pretty kick-ass time, wasn't it, though? Next thing we're going to do is something pretty simple. I'm just going to give you my top 5 plays from the preseason so far. 2021 preseason, top 5 plays, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So here we go, starting with number 5.
90 minutes, and then they ramp up. Then they go to 105 minutes. Then they go to 120 minutes.
Right. So by Monday.
Yeah.
All right. That was number 5. So obviously Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver 1, and it's not even particularly close in fantasy this year. Next up at number 4, 2021 preseason.
In the backyard. So it feels more normal.
Big Ben, what can I say? Did you see that gun? So obviously, without any kind of doubt, Ben Roethlisberger is the QB1 in all of fantasy, in all of the universe this year. On we go to number 3 in the top 5 plays of the preseason.
On their brand new head coach, Robert Saleh. And it's not like the New York Jets did absolutely nothing for their...
And a 2 for there. Zach Wilson, QB1, all of fantasy this year. He just edged out Roethlisberger in the last 10 seconds. Elijah Moore, wide receiver 1, all of fantasy. Next up, number 2. Top 5 plays. This is the number 2 of the preseason.
To hear from him after practice, and he looks like he's worked on his body, his strength, maybe adding a little weight. Not sure about that.
Another twofer at number 2. We got Dak Prescott throwing to CeeDee Lamb. Threw it, CeeDee Lamb caught it. Dak Prescott, QB1. CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver 1. They just bumped out Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore in the last 15 seconds. That's how it works. And now the moment everyone's been waiting for, all the viewers watching at home on their devices and whatnot. Number 1, best play preseason so far. You're welcome. And obviously, number one, F1, Terry McLaurin. Just a crisp, nice catch. The wide receiver one of the decade. And hands down, not even close. So there you have it. There's my top 5 from the preseason. That wraps up another episode of Pulp Fantasy. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making it. I say that at the end of every episode because it's true. I have so much fun making these. I mean, who would have thought? Who would have thought I'd be doing something like this, just having a good time? Not me. Anyway, very excited that the week 1 is right around the corner of the NFL season. This will be my first year, starting from week 1 in this space, kind of in this community, doing my best to put on an analyst hat and give people advice and interact and have debates and do research and all that kind of stuff. Having a blast. Anyway, so again, you can follow me at MunderDiflinFF on Twitter. And if you're not following all the folks over at In Between Media, you really should. Go to the website, check out our columns. Got a lot of good writers. We've got some other YouTube videos. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be fantastic. That'd be great. So without further ado, good night.